Everybody, welcome. Oh, hey, everybody, welcome. It's Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Ladies, we are the Black Coffee. Our lips drip with honey. Sometimes we have some grit, sass, class, and all that ass. Listen, y'all, I'm so ready to dive into this topic. I'm remixing stuff. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all to just tell y'all the truth. But let me go ahead and welcome y'all into this space and say hello. My name is Jamika Anderson. I'm CEO and owner of Harmony and Power Institute, where I help women and children who lack confidence and clarity achieve harmony and power within themselves so that they can have the life that they desire. Passing it on over to you, Dr. J.
All right, y'all. I'm Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer, author, speaker, all the things, and 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Passing it to you, Carmel.
Oh, okay. I thought I was muted. Good. Hello, I'm Carmel Jean-Francois out of New York City, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching. I work with women over 40 on their health and wellness. I do that by way of fitness and nutrition, and I work with them on their goals. And my goal is to make sure that the women that I work with feel healthy, strong, empowered, inside and out. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Shelly.
Okay, I am Shelley A. Carter out of New Jersey, cross licensed real estate professional with real estate banking and life insurance licenses. I dabble in other areas, but I love to tell people that I'm here to help you find, fund, and protect the future of your dreams. And that is it. Over to you, Maisha.
Hey y'all, hey, I'm Devi Maisha, the sensual energy alchemist, teacher of sensual feminine embodiment and sacred sexuality. Basically, I assist women in aligning with their unique sensual expression, their power, and their confidence so they can create the most orgasmic lives possible in and out of the bedroom. So excited to be here for this conversation about releasing the guilt of putting yourself first.
All right, so before we dive all the way into how to release the guilt of putting yourself first, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was why do we as women, because we're holding space for women, why do we as women feel guilty for choosing us first? Because I think that's a big question. Um and I'm gonna respond and say what I think, but I'm gonna throw it on over to my ladies first to see what they got to say about it. So why do you think we feel so guilty for choosing ourselves first? And I'm gonna go over to you, Dr. J.
Because I raised my hand. Pick me.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't speak for every other woman, but I have identified the fact that because I am a caregiver. I've been a caregiver for a long time for people who I shouldn't have been caring for. They should have been caring for me. But I have a caregiver mentality, and sometimes it feels strange, and I feel guilty for focusing on myself. I feel guilty for saying no to people, not just people. Let me just back that up. My kids, my family, there's a guilt there. But however, I have that has shifted. But when I do feel guilty, it's because of that. It's because of the role that I feel like I'm innately in. I am a caregiver and a mother and have been a wife before, and it's natural for me. It's just natural. It's part of my makeup. So oftentimes I'll guilt myself, which really is the most powerful. And some people can guilt me, but I'm good at it. I'm like really, really good at it. So yeah, so that's my thing. For me anyway. So yeah, I'll pass it on over.
Listen, you said a lot just then, and I'm gonna come back to it, but I definitely want to hear Shelly's perspective before she get too busy. So Shelly, what do you think?
I think that those people broke me when they were raising me because they raised me to be the caregiver. They raised me to be the problem solver, the doer, the controller of things. And when I didn't do it or didn't want to do it, it was, well, why not? What's wrong with you? You're rejecting your program, robot person. You're not supposed to think or feel or have your own will. We raised you to look after your little cousins, to run these errands when we're that's how it felt. It may not be true, but in my mind, that's the story that I told, that I must do this. And I remember a story that I didn't hear it as third party, but my my grandfather told one of the girls, I only had you the reason I had all you children was so you could take care of me when I got older. And I grew up feeling like that was what my duty was. I'm the oldest, I'm the one. So when grandma and or my mother needs something, that it is just my job to go do the doing. And so what if I wanted to? So what if I felt like it? So what if I had something else to do? I must do my duty. You know, the captain says what? I must go down with the ship. And I missed the parties, and I missed I rescheduled my own appointments to do that. And along the way, and I want to make sure I'm releasing the guilt of putting ourselves first. One day, someone said, well, why didn't you do that? And I said, I didn't do that because I was doing this over there for you. Well, it's not my fault you didn't go do you. I never told you not to go do you. I'm like, oh, duly noted. So that helped me, and revelations to follow as I started doing that work we always talk about. That helped me to realize that, oh, well, these other people just go do what they want to do, and that I'm the only one following these rules that were in a book that I never got, that apparently I made in my head. So, oh, well, let me rewrite rules that fit me in my own life. And because I know that if I'm not living my life, or if I'm waiting to live my life, I'm not promised to have my life. So it is my duty, it is my responsibility, it is my right to prioritize myself, my joy, my happiness today, and that I'm going to be better for everyone when I do that. So that's it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, Shelly, you said so much, and I'm just sitting here like I am here with all of it. Look, like all of the things. And I definitely, we're gonna come back around to it and discuss it a little bit more. And I heard this question too on Instagram or YouTube or something. So y'all don't let me forget to ask the question later after everybody go. But Carmel, I'm gonna pop on over to you. So what about you? Why do you think we feel guilty for putting ourselves first?
I think that we feel guilty because we're pretty much raised to to solve problems as women. The babies come in, mommy, I hurt my knee, and we solve it, right? A husband comes in and he's hungry. Our job is to solve that problem. I think at the root of it all, we are problem solvers with regard to that, but that's all part of self-care, right? I feel like that's why we feel this guilt when we're just kind of like, no, you can take care of that. Not necessarily to the baby who hurt his knee, but in general, when people come to us with things that need our attention, squabbles in the family, things that people are going through that has nothing to do with you, and say, listen, this is what so and so told me today. Can you believe it? And now you're supposed to come up with some kind of a solution, or if you don't have time for it, they'll be like, I can't believe I'm calling you to talk to you about this, and you don't even want to entertain my conversation. So I think we're all kind of like brought up to think that we have to really be able to solve people's problems, or interject or give our opinions to things that are not our business, because and other people are designed or not designed, but we're made to think that other people are there for us in that capacity. But I gotta tell you, I don't go through that guilt. The other day, a friend calls me up, and I called my friend up and I started telling, oh, you know what happened to me today? And I just went on and on. The friend said, I'm feeling a kind of way because I'm not having a good day, and proceeded to tell me all the things that was going wrong. And I listened and I said, I'm not quite sure why you're upset with me. I called you, you said, hey, how you doing? I told you how I was doing. I was doing darn good. And are you upset with me because my life is going right now, and today you just had you had a bad day? And I didn't feel guilty. Instead, I turned it around and challenged that person. Why are you upset with me? Why are you trying to make me feel guilty? And when I presented that question and challenged her in that way, she didn't want to talk about it anymore. She changed the subject onto what was for dinner that night. And she didn't jump off the phone. She could have been like, you know what, goodbye. She kind of saw what was happening with the conversation. So I feel like it's a part of part of the reason is because I'm not married. I ain't got no kids. I'm not seeing nobody right now. And anybody that I'm seeing don't got no little kids that I feel like I need to be made to feel guilty about not trying to rescue or come up with a solution to a problem. So that's my answer.
Listen, you had brought up something good too, that whole like misery loves company piece of it. And so since we can't commiserate, like I got a problem. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy piece too. Like people are real deal. Like it kind of tie back to what Shelly was saying a little bit. Like if it doesn't serve me, then I don't want any parts of it, but I need you here to make sure I'm happy. And y'all know I got a problem with that, but I digress. Maisha.
So the short answer is we've been conditioned to. We've been conditioned to put other people first. I ain't going into a long history lesson because y'all know I'll start pulling out stuff about, you know, the things. There's a great, it's not great. It's really, it's okay because there's a show on Netflix called Sex Life. And it's a good show to watch. It really exaggerates what has happened with women in society. Like some of it is just like, okay, that's just ridiculousness. But the core of what the show talks about is very relevant. And it's about how women have been taught to put everyone else first. And how do you come out of that? And how do you find you and pursue you? And in doing so, when we do that, everyone around us actually benefits more than when we exhaust ourselves trying to put everyone else first, and then we're resentful and angry. That does not work for us. I did not put people first at all. I think I probably still am, considered to be very selfish in my immediate family, based on my siblings who put everybody else first. So I look really selfish. But then I got married and I had kids, and I naturally fell into a role of, well, everybody comes before me. I have to make sure everything is okay. I have to make sure everything goes a certain way. And this person has that, and that person has this. And I completely forgot about all of me, everything that I liked before, the clothes I liked before, no hair, no nails, no nothing. And that did not bode well because I was exhausted. I was exhausted all the time. I did what needed to be done, but I didn't have as much joy as I could have had, you know. And then there's this idea of, well, there's joy in the giving. Look at here. There's joy in the giving when you actually want to give. There's no joy in the giving when you're a martyr. And so many of us have been raised to be martyrs. And don't get me started, because a lot of us are raised that way because we think we're going to get our reward after we die. I want that shit while I'm here. I'm not waiting till I die to get some goodness. The goodness is here while I'm here right now. So what I had to learn was that me being a martyr, me feeling guilty for putting me first, wasn't healthy mentally. It wasn't healthy spiritually. It damn sure wasn't healthy physically. And I learned how to say no. I learned how to say not right now. I learned how to say that's not for me. And I'm not that I'm back, but I have more maturity and wisdom than I did when I was younger, but more of who I was when I was younger has come into play in that I won't be guilted. I don't care who it is. I love you, mommy. I don't care who it is. I love you, daddy, and all that. Into doing anything that I know is going to go against my better judgment or my time or anything else. Because at the end of the day, I have to live with that decision. And either I'm going to choose to do it because it feels right to do, or I'm going to be honest with myself and say, this doesn't feel right to do it. But I'm not going to put myself in a position to do things and feel resentful about it later. That I spent far too many years doing that. That's my short answer.
Girl, I was ready to give you the hallelujah hands. Look, the Jesus hands, or the round of applause. And like, y'all know I ain't got no good sense. Listen. I mean, I'm here for all of that. And even when you were talking about it, I'm like, yes, like there's so many levels to it, right? And we get programmed on so many levels. And that's some of what, y'all know, I go back to my program because it's some of what the things that I talk about. You have, socially, which is, your television is now social media, is the friends that you hang out with, is your parents. You had the, for some individuals, you had the church or religion who socialized you to do that. Of course, you have school, all these different areas of your life where people are telling you this is how you are to perform. And the thing about it is not all performances are good, right? Not all performances are going to work for you. That is not the character that you're supposed to be playing, although someone gave you that role. And that's what's happening a lot, I think, now as a whole, is that people are realizing that a lot of these roles do not fit who they are, their true persona as a person. So you have the character that you're playing, the roles that you're playing, but who you are as a person when that role is off, right? Just like with any great actor, when they're done with that film, they go back to their normal lives. But you've allowed this production to be a part of your normal life. And that's why you're feeling a type of way, right? You're feeling like you're being unheard. You're feeling like people are mistreating you. You're feeling like, people don't care about you. You have all these negative responses because you're not showing up as your true self. And so now, just like what we're talking about, how to release the guilt of putting yourself first, you have to be able to choose you every single time so that you can now shift from just duty, right? Because that was, someone said that, just duty or doing a job or just managing, you get what I'm saying, to a position where you are now shining. And like what you said, Maisha, we're no longer in that survival mode. We're now thriving so that everything else around us will thrive, and that happens in so many different areas. When you have plants that are growing, people cut off the dead plant so that it does not pollute the rest of the plant, right? Or you trim stuff away, you cut the yard, you cut the edge, your hair and whatever else, because you're trying to get to a place where it's not destructive to the whole. And what happened is, if we don't make those changes as we need to, you as a whole individual, and at this point talking about women, you as a whole individual woman, that pollution, that toxicity that you now are holding into your body is what you're nurturing the most. And so that nurturing aspect, where you're trying to be the giver and the caretaker and all these things, you're polluting those relationships because you're unable to give those individuals what it is that they need in order to thrive and survive, because you don't have what you need. And we see that so often when they talk about being on a plane and putting your mask on first, because you can put the mask on the child and guess what? You're going to lose oxygen. You're going to fall out. Now this child is there and you're dead, or whatever happens. And so people have to be more aware of those things.
Because you said something about being aware of self, which I think is really key. I know right now there's the pendulum always shifts. It just, because that's what we do as human beings, and we're always looking to find balance. And so many of us grew up over on this side where we were performative. Most of us have no idea who we actually are because we weren't given a chance to find out. Most of us were not raised with parents who said, well, let's see what she's over there playing with and just let her decide for herself certain things and see who she is as a person. No, as soon as we could, we were programmed as to this is who we're supposed to be. This is how we're supposed to show up. This is how the world needs to see us. So most of us have never had that opportunity. Now we're in this space where we're playing the roles we were given. And women are nurturers, but that doesn't mean that that's our job to nurture everybody. So we're over here. Now we have some younger generations that are like, well, I'm not doing that, because they saw us burnt out, because they saw us always working, and they don't want any parts of that. They find no glory in working overtime and working 2 jobs, even though it benefited their life. They're like, I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask you to sacrifice your entire life for me, and I'm not going to do that for anyone else because I see that you're not happy. I see you're crabby. So now it's kind of swinging, and what it looks like is I'm saying no to everybody. Nope. No one's going to get anything. It is all about me, and that is it, and I get it. Because without understanding the balance between the two, or having any idea of who a woman is as a woman, let me go way over to this side. The hope is that we come back to the center and understand this is me and this is who I am. I can say yes to a lot of things. I can show up for people, and that's okay. I can do it maybe sometimes when it's not my preference because these people are important to me. I can also say no when I feel like this is definitely not for me. And I can do these things and take a deep breath and go, even though this isn't what I'm not like so excited, I can do this and it's okay. And even though somebody else really wants me to do something, I can say no with no guilt. The goal is to find the balance so that we're not constantly swinging back and forth between the extremes of I have to pour myself into everyone and give them the shirt off my back, and I'm not going to give you anything unless I'm just like gung ho. There will be a balance to be found, but it's understandable why it has to swing the way it does.
And there was a couple of things. Dr. J, you wanted to say something?
Oh, no. I was just getting ready in case I did. No, because I feel like she was touching on some of the things, and I don't want to answer it in case you ask us a question, but I was just thinking of.
Go ahead, girl.
Okay. I'll do that. What I was going to say was, for me, because like I said, I'm a natural caregiver, what I've learned, and like Maisha said, you can't be all the way over left and all the way over here either. But what I've learned is to just really reframe the guilt and to recognize the guilt as like a barometer for me to say, hey, okay, something's going on. You need to recognize what's going on with you. Why are you feeling the guilt? Maybe you need to address something of your own, some of your own needs. Maybe you need to practice some self-care. Maybe you need to do what you need to do so that you're not feeling crazy. Because that benefits everybody. So that's all I was going to say. You know what I'm saying? So.
And that's good. I'm glad that you did say that. I'm going to touch on a couple of different things, but I'm glad that you did say that, because that is what those negative emotions are for. Like when you feel guilt, it is supposed to be for you to check in with yourself and why am I thinking it? And I had a book. I'm trying to look real quick, but I don't see it. So I can't give y'all the name. Oh, no. The Dynamic Law of, no, that ain't it. I lied. That ain't it. But y'all, I got a bookshelf that's got like 1 million books on it. I thought that was it. But it's a book, and it talked about how you allow your emotions, how you communicate with your emotions, especially the negative emotions. And the thing about it is, when it comes up, you give it space. And I'm always telling people to write stuff down. I know my clients be like, I'm so tired of writing. My hand hurt. It's cramping up, Jamaica. But if you're writing it out, you put your name there, you write and you say, I feel this way. And then whatever the feeling is. So if it is neglect, so then you put neglect on the next line, and you allow neglect to talk to you. And why are you feeling that neglect? In this case, is guilt. So you allow the guilt to talk to you. Why am I feeling guilty? And then the guilt will respond in that section. Maybe it's because blah, 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 blah. Okay, then you go to the next question. You pose another question to the guilt to understand why it's coming up for you. The biggest thing, what I've learned and what I try to get people to understand is that we have certain emotions and they come up for us so that we can understand how to move through life a little bit quicker. So if you're in pain, pain is not going to stop. That doesn't happen. Misery doesn't stop, or anger or upset or whatever. Those emotions never stop. They're just as higher at a point. It's like harmonizing, right? Some are higher at a point and then it's lower where you're not paying it attention. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't progress or it doesn't go. It's energy. Energy is constantly moving, it's constantly flowing. Sometimes it's just louder at certain points than others. And so having that ability to have that self-realization and have that communication or internal dialogue with yourself allows for you to not sit in certain things as quick. Just like we talked about previously about the triggers, right? You have a trigger, it comes up, but it allows you to see pieces and spots of yourself in your life that you may not have been ready to uncover, because the brain is constantly going to make sure that you're safe, right? And so what some people do is they want to remain in that safety, so they run the other way, not understanding that this issue doesn't disappear. You're just ignoring it, or you're minimizing it, or whatever it is, but it's going to come back up, and it may be through another person. It may be through another experience. This is why people date people and they keep saying, I keep dating the same type of people, or it's a different name, a different face, but it's the same energy, because you haven't dealt with it. You haven't sat with it to understand it. And it made me think about one of the other things, and y'all can always stop me because y'all know I know how to pick back up. But it made me think about Shelley when she was like talking about, I was doing all these things for my family, putting my family first. And then we had that conversation and somebody was like, well, I didn't force you to do that, or I didn't ask you to do it, but you programmed me to have a certain response. This is a call and response, just like in church. The preacher say, y'all hear me, and then the church say, amen, or whatever it is, right? And so that same call and response happens with parents and children. The child is getting programmed to respond to the parent a certain way. And I've had my parents come to me and say, well, I never said you couldn't do X, Y, Z, but you never said I could either. You never allowed me to have those choices to show me that I am my own person. I was always in response to something you had to do or did not do, or you wanted. Just like with I had all the kids so that somebody could take care of me. I've heard that too in my family. Like, I got 7 kids, my grandmother, I had 7 kids and nobody's out here to take care of me. And I'm like, but bro, I'm right here. Like, I'm not your initial first child, but I'm your child because I'm your child's child. You get what I'm saying? So someone's here, it's just not the person who you see. And sometimes I think too, that plays a role when people feeling guilty because things aren't showing up the way that they think that it should show up. And what happens is a lot of people aren't even clear on what they're looking for. They just think that the word sounds good, right? Like, oh, I want somebody to cater to me. Okay, well, what does that look for? And then there's a blank. Well, he's not loving me the way that he should. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You ready? Oh, I thought somebody.
Who are you talking to?
Somebody went off mic. I heard something.
Me too. I thought somebody was about to speak.
I'm off mic, but it wasn't me. I'm not about
look, y'all know I don't be wanting to overtalk y'all. But what I will say, the question before, so that I don't forget. I don't know it verbatim, but pretty much it was like, what would your life look like if you lived it uninterrupted? And so when I heard the question, because it was a girl expressing to someone that, the quality of questions is what is very important when having conversations sometimes. And when I heard that, I was like, dang, how would it look? And she went into business, but I was just saying in general, how would I show up, or how would I live this? And it deals with guilt, right? Because our lives are interrupted by people who place their own guilt sometimes onto us, who place their own belief systems, right? What you should and shouldn't do, what you should and shouldn't say, how you should and shouldn't act. All of those things come from other individuals. So we're living in a we're living with our minds closed because someone else who had a closed mind gave us their perception of what reality should look like. And so now if I start to, and this is what I do in my program, if I start to tear away all of these things that people have taught me, because I did it for a year, I did a couple different things, but for a year, I just said yes. A year of yes to everything. Stuff that I normally would say no to, a year of yes. I did a year of questioning. So the certain things that I believed or I thought, so why do I think this? And then to choose something that I wouldn't choose, to go to choose the opposite. So if my first inkling is, nah, I don't want to go on a trip, I'm going on a trip because I'm not used to taking a risk and doing something that's outside of my norm. So the question again, it rung to me because I was like, how would my life be if it was not interrupted? If it was not the person who told me, no, you can't do this because we don't have the money. Don't say no because we don't have the money. Just say, well, if you can find a way to get the money, then why not? Because then that changes the trajectory, right? The no is not a hard stop. Now it's let's figure out how to get this or how to make this happen. You get what I'm saying? No, you can't wear them shorts because you're too fat. Honey, they out here in draws. Go on, show whatever you want to show. Go on out there, live your best life. You get what I'm saying? So how would that change and adjust myself if I was not having this little program or this little thought where someone else is speaking to me? Because part of the time I want to do certain stuff, right? I might want to go out dancing and just get down with the get down. But I'd be like, girl, these people might judge you. They might be thinking like, oh, da 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 da. And it'll stop you from living your true authentic life, although everyone is saying I'm my authentic self. But are you? You get what I'm saying? Y'all just got me talking. I'm listening.
Like deeper connections, much deeper connections. That's what I feel. I would have deeper connections if I was just completely free flowing, uninterrupted. Yeah, because I check myself at every moment, at every move. I do. I'm constantly, like you said, thinking of the next thing or whatever. So yeah, I think deeper connections for me.
I feel like the interruptions are needed to help me gain different perspectives when it comes to different things. They help me grow. So to answer the question, so correct me if I'm wrong, the question was, how would my life look if it was uninterrupted? Was that the question, Shamika? Okay. I feel like it would be a little bit more shallow. I might know myself, but it would be a little bit more, I would be a little bit more selfish. This is how I'm thinking, because I'm really thinking about that. I'm like, uninterrupted might be a little bit less exciting. And yeah, those are the things that I have right now. I feel like the interruptions make our lives fuller in very different areas of our lives. I yield.
There would be more. I mean, like, y'all know me. I do my best to live my life uninterrupted. And I know it looks very crazy and haphazard, and it looks like there's absolutely no control in it whatsoever. And I could not imagine living any other way. It would drive me absolutely insane if because I grew up with such rigidity. It broke me. Like I don't believe most people are meant to be that way, but we're either so used to it that that's all we know and we stay in it, or we somehow escape from it and end up looking like, the crazies are running the asylum. And I'm okay with looking like the crazy running the asylum. I do my best to live it like, if I decide to get up at a certain time, I do. If I decide I don't want to get up at a certain time, I don't. If I think I want to take a nap, I do. If I want to hang out with people, I do. If I don't, I don't. I just, at every moment, I really do my best. I don't always succeed. And it doesn't mean that, I make a ton of mistakes along the way. And I go, that was a mistake. And I have moments when I just feel really, it's not like I'm like excited or happy all the time, but I just want to own my life. I want to own what I do. I want to own who I am. And in order for that to happen, I try really hard not to live my life according to the interruptions of what other people might think, what they need to see, how I need to show up. Well, that wasn't the polite thing to say, or that's not how you're supposed to act in a situation, or people aren't supposed to see that side of you, or no one's supposed to know. It's too much hiding. So I as my kids are now older, I'm living it even more in this uninterrupted kind of way where it's just like, what do I want to experience today? That's to me, that's the only question to ask. What do I want to experience today? And how do I want to experience life today? And so for me, it's more, what foods do I want to eat? What do I want to smell? How do I want to make love? How do I want to self-pleasure? How do I want, all of those questions come into play. And I'm trying to do more of that. I'm trying to do more of no interruptions as much as possible. I yield the mic. I hope that makes sense. I yield the mic.
It did.
I know I'll be talking like, I don't know.
No, it was so delicious, and I was here for all of it. And I was just sitting up here like, I wrote that question down. What do I want to experience today? Because I'm like, that's going to be a room. We're going to talk about that. I feel like that's almost like going with Dr. J's. Like I feel. And we as women need a little bit more of that for us, just like what we were saying too, to release some of the guilt. Like you don't know what you want, what you need, or how you feel. You don't know what experiences you want to encounter because you are set to hiding, right? You're set to that hiding dot, and the guilt is kind of one of those things that keep you in that spot. And Shelly, I don't know if you wanted to add to it. I did want to give you that opportunity. Not right now. Okay. So, I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna leave some of that to another time because I feel like I'll go down a little rabbit hole. Y'all see, I already do. But going back to the question, how to release the guilt of putting yourself first. So how would you guys suggest? What suggestions would you make, or tips or strategies would you give to someone who is in a place where they're guilty for putting themselves first and they're really looking to make that change? What would you suggest that they do? And I want to start with you, Carmel, if you don't mind, and work our way up. What do you think?
To start living guilt-free? Was that the question? Sorry. Know your boundaries. I think we've touched on that. And it's that important because it starts with you. Because if you know your boundaries, and you're not going to let anybody else penetrate it. And when you know your boundaries so well, there's no such thing as guilt. Absolutely no such thing as guilt. So I yield. That's my answer.
Who wanted to go next, Dr. J or Maisha?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah, I the same thing I said before. The tip I would give is to just reframe it all. Just reframe the guilt. Use it as a signal. Just know that something else is at play, and make sure you're taking care of yourself. And go from there and give yourself some compassion. So that would be my tip there.
Yeah, I kind of a combo of some things that that were said, and especially, knowing that the guilt, any emotion is pointing to something, right? So no emotion is bad. It's just, it's pointing to something. If I have asked myself these questions, there are many things that I have felt guilty about, many things, and the question that, looking back now, what I would have asked myself is, okay, what am I feeling guilty about? Why am I feeling this guilt? What do I think should happen here? What's supposed to happen here? What would I like to happen here? Because a lot of times the guilt is from a story I have that's attached to something. And if I keep doing that kind of inquiry, it might be like, well, hold on. Like, I don't even want this, or I actually don't think this is important. So why am I doing it in the first place? Oh, because if I don't, I'll look like a bad mom to other people who don't know me. Oh, and that's really what it is. A lot of this, if I'll look like a bad mom, right? And okay, well, what if I didn't care about what people thought about me? What would I be doing? How would I be? What decision would I make here if that was not my concern? And that's how, that question I definitely used to ask myself, but all the stuff in between, I would have added on because I think it would have helped. But it's really that kind of questioning that I think we need to start doing as women. And really, because when you do it, you start to get down to the nitty gritty of, who am I actually doing this for? Is it for me? Is it for how I want people to see me? Is it for other people? And if it's not really for me first, then I don't need to feel guilty about it. That's a process, though.
Yeah, and look, y'all spoke some words. Then listen, let me put my dollar in the plate. But I definitely think that, and I think again, because I think I reiterate this every time that I speak, is that it is a process. It is going to be, you can't get away from the feelings, like what Maisha was saying. You can't get away from not feeling the best when you're doing it, especially because you have been doing whatever it is that you've been doing for so long. You've been a caregiver for so long. You've been a nurturer for so long. And you've been taking care of everyone else, and everyone else has been benefiting from you except for you. And at some point, when you realize that and you're tired, because I know people say when you know better, you do better. I don't fully truly believe that, because you can know better and you're not going to do better. You're going to say, oh, I should have, could have, would have, right? But when you're fed up and you're tired of being tired, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when you start to make adjustments and understand that action is key. Because every single time you're going to have to do something. Whatever it is, you have to do something. So if you're making a choice to choose yourself, right, and put yourself first, you're going to have to be okay with vocalizing that choice. You're going to have to be okay with not answering the phone. You're going to have to be okay with walking away, because sometimes people will try to keep you trapped in the box that they know you to be in. They'll try to manipulate you into being on their side. And it was funny because Carmel, when you gave your example of you and your friend having a conversation, I'm like, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm having an amazing day. Da 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 da. And it's like, well, I don't think da 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 da. Like I'm not that great, And that's a person who, of course, like I said, misery loves company. But as a person who sees themselves as their own sun in their own universe, and it's like, you're in my solar system and you're supposed to revolve around me. And it's like, no, I'm my own universe as well. And I think that's one of those things. Because again, when we're younger, sometimes parents say, my parents have said it, you think the world revolve around you? And I wish I had the gusto and the balls to say yes. Hell yeah, what you talk about? Not only do the world revolve, the other look, the other planets do too, because I'm the son of this in here situation. Um but of course that takes time. So you have to learn to nurture your own self, because your son, your energy is dying within you. And if you let it die out, when you're gone, they're going to find other ways to replace you. Just like with a job, you done with a job, the job going to put up another posted, help wanted sign. So you have to learn how to care for yourself first, and what that means for you, and how to choose yourself. What all of those things. Sometimes, like I keep saying, you got to write some stuff out. What does caring for yourself look like? That's a question that you can pose to yourself. What does putting myself first look like? And it doesn't have to just be like nails and hair and whatever else, but actually saying no when you want to say no. And I keep repeating it because that's my new thing. If it's not a full body yes, it's a no. And I'm okay with saying no, because now when I say yes, my yeses are worth so much more. You get what I'm saying? Because people are no for certain, like, oh, she doesn't usually do that. My mama is good. My mama she's been studious in Jamaica, okay? And so homegirl told me the other day too. She was like, yeah, your auntie them asked about, this was probably like a couple months ago. They asked, do you think Jamaica do da 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 da? And she was like, she gonna say no, but y'all can ask her. Don't ask me about her, because I'm not gonna do it. But y'all can ask her and see what she say. And it's funny because they don't ask me certain things anymore, because I've learned to say no, like my mother, because we learn too, based off of what we've seen and experienced versus what we've been told a lot. My mama told me, she was like, if it don't benefit me, I don't do it. And she had been showing me that my whole life. She didn't tell it to me until I was 18, 19 years old. And then I seen it and was like, she sure right. Look, she sure don't. But it helped me as a woman now to understand, if it does not serve you, it doesn't benefit you, it's not mutual to you and the other person, right? Because it's always you, it's the other person, it's the two of you separate, and then it's your co-creation, what you guys do together. So if it's not mutually beneficial, do not have the expectation that this person is going to do what it is that you want them to do. And a lot of that, again, will cut out on some of that guilt, because you're learning this person is putting themselves first, and touche, they should. And now it's my chance and opportunity to do the same thing for me, because I'm only responsible for me. So I don't know if any of you ladies have any closing remarks. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all that. And if y'all want to do y'all whole little outros, a little shout out.
That was my outro, or not my closing remark that I gave. So I'm Dr. Jamesia, and I'm see you guys next time. I'll pass it on over.
I love the conversation. I want to keep, we could be here all day having these conversations, but yes, we do need to like go pee and eat, but I love this. This was awesome. Yes, I'm Devi Maishi. Y'all know who it is. Just, click the link on and find out more about us.
Carmel.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Hi. I'm Carmel, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching, working with women over 40 on their health and wellness. And I love the conversation. I loved everything that everybody had to say. And, I love perspectives. So that was really, really good. So that's it. That's me. I yield.
Thanks. And then down below also is Shelly A. Carter. You guys can find all her information at the link. Everything about Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits is in that link that you see here on the screen. Listen, I'm here like, Maisha, let's go have us a whole razzle dazzle conversation. We're just gonna record it.
Listen, we can open up a whole clubhouse room. I ain't got nothing but time this afternoon. Don't play.
Look, I done set aside some time for y'all today, but we might do a little razzle dazzle. I don't know. Look. All right. So I am Jamaica Anderson, you guys. Of course, we are Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, and we are so glad that you were able to listen to our chat. If you can, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. We're on Facebook as well. You can subscribe there. Make sure you like, share, comment on the video down below. Let us know what y'all want to hear about, because we here for y'all. Look, we hold a space for y'all. Okay. But check out some of our other videos, because there's a lot of amazing conversations that are happening, and we're trying to make sure that we help out women, especially women of color. But of course, we hold space for all women. And we're just having everyday conversations, the things that most people don't talk about or are scared to talk about. And we just want to bring a new, fresh perspective to some of the things, so that we can all gain a little bit more clarity in our lives and take control of our lives and not feel guilty about putting ourselves first. So we have enjoyed this conversation with you guys, and we'll check y'all out later. Bye, y'all.